Why is it that some people work extremely hard, yet they don't make the money they want to make, yet the people who are making the most money seem to be doing nothing, seem to be doing the least amount of work of anyone? Well, today I'm going to explain why that is, and if you understand this simple math equation called value of risk, then you too could be able to make tons of money while doing very little work. Anybody who's gotten rich understands value of risk. Hey, my name's Dan Henry. I am the co-founder of closedeals.com. I made $30 million with my online business, and I make videos about what I learned along the way. So right now I am vacationing in Aruba, and I promised myself I wasn't gonna make any videos. I was just gonna enjoy my time, but then something happened on a tour that we took, and I just had to make a video while it was fresh in my mind. So we go on this ATV tour, and there was nothing wrong with the tour itself. It was beautiful. We went up mountains and through caves and all kinds of stuff. It was great. But at the end of the tour guide, he says, hey, I hope you guys had a great time. Keep in mind, we do accept tips. If you feel like we did a great job, you can tip us. You know, this is how we make our living. My boss just sits in his chair and collects a check. He doesn't actually do any of the work. We do all the work. So if you feel like tipping us, please tip us. Now, here is what that gentleman failed to understand and why he will forever be a tour guide and he will never own a tour company. See, in his mind, and this is the employee or poor mindset, it's I do the most work, therefore I deserve the most money. And that right there is a false equation. That's not how the world works. Now see, his boss actually does make the most money with the least amount of work, because his boss, like many successful entrepreneurs, understand that what gets you wealth is not hard work, it's risk. You see, his boss risks millions of dollars to buy dozens upon dozens and dozens of ATVs. The insurance required to do so, negotiating with the government of Aruba and getting whatever licenses they need, marketing, sales, payroll, just the list goes on. The risk, time, reputation. Also, think about this. The employee is risking what? 8 hours, if that, of his day and some sweat. Whereas the entrepreneur is risking virtually all of his day, his entire life, all of his money, his reputation, legal, because you can get sued. You know, you can get sued as an operator of a tour company. We're going up jagged rocks and shit. So he's risking basically everything to make this happen. And that's why the entrepreneur makes and deserves the most money. If you go to a casino and you make a bet on a blackjack hand, right? And you put up $1 million, you are risking $1 million. If you win $1 million. That is a huge amount of money to win in one game, $1 million. But if you only put up $5, then you could win only $5, but you're only risking $5. Whereas to win $1 million, you have to risk $1 million. So as you see, the value of risk is directly tied to the value of reward. It's not the value of hard work. It's not even the value of time. It's the value of risk. And that is the way the world works. And that's why most poor people, most employees, most people that complain about rich people or they can't figure out how to get rich is because they're looking at it completely wrong. They're thinking, oh, if I work hard, I'll be rich. Oh, if I put a lot of time in, I'll be rich. And the truth is, those things, while those do help support risk, the main factor is simply risk. Here's a little thought exercise you can do at home right now while watching this video. Hold out your arm. Just hold it out right now as you watch your video. Now, as you're holding your arm out, here's what I want you to think. If I flip a coin, you could win $1 million if it lands on heads. But if it lands on tails, whoop, chop your arm off. Would you do it? Most people would say, no, I don't want to lose my arm. $1 million isn't that much money these days. They justify it. And I don't want to lose my arm. And here's the thing. Entrepreneurs, successful entrepreneurs, they are putting their arm out. They are risking things. So whether you are an employee who just can't figure out how to make more money, or you are an entrepreneur who is struggling in their business, I'm gonna give you some hardcore real advice right now. You ain't risking enough. Look, I've literally personally consulted over 1,200 online entrepreneurs. My programs over the years have created over 100 millionaires and hundreds, or at least been helpful in creating. They did a lot of work. I'm sure they bought other programs. You get what I mean. Also, hundreds and hundreds of people I've met at conferences who have said that I've helped them made their first 100,000, their first 500,000, their first million. So I have a little bit of experience in conversing and seeing the patterns of what makes a successful entrepreneur and what makes a non-successful entrepreneur. And I'll tell you this is true harsh advice, very direct. So be prepared. If you are not making it in your business, you ain't risking enough, okay? Oh, I don't want to take sales calls. Oh, I don't want to join a mastermind. It's too expensive. I don't want to spend money on ads. Yeah, that's all risk. You spend money to go into a mastermind, you risk that you're not gonna get enough out of it to make a return. You spend money on ads, you're doing the same thing. You put yourself out there, you post on social every day, you put out content, you're risking your reputation that people are going to think you're stupid or a poser or an imposter or that you just suck. Your risk, yes, of course, and guess what? That's how it's supposed to be. That is what allows you to have the right to earn that type of reward. Most unsuccessful people, they look for ways to make money and ways to get rich without risk. In fact, that is literally all they think about. Well, how much do I have to risk? How much does it cost? How much time does it take? How quickly can I get my money back? And the reason you're thinking like that is why you are poor, why you are broke, or why you're simply not making as much money as you want to. You could make $1 million a year, and this could still apply to you. In fact, I remember when I was only making $2 million a year in my business in the first couple of years, and it was because I wasn't risking enough. I wasn't joining enough masterminds. I wasn't getting on enough one-on-one calls. And then one day it just clicked for me, and I went, wait a minute, every time I invest money, I make way more money. Why am I not constantly doing this? And so I started buying into multiple mastermind after multiple mastermind, 30 to 50 grand each. I even spent $50,000 on one-on-one calls. I spent, oh, dude, you have no idea how much money I've spent on this stuff, but it's always brought me a return. When I learned stage selling, I spent 55 grand to learn stage selling, made $1 million in a single day at the very next event that I did. And I used a ton of stuff that I did not know that I learned from that. So this is the thing, is I put my arm out. Successful people, they put their arm out all the time, and they look at the blade and the blade's shining, and they see the blade and they see the $1 million, and they're like, well, boom. Here is the best part about this, is that your arm cannot grow back, but money can. Imagine if you invest in 3 masterminds, or you invest in 3 consulting or coaching programs, or you invest in 3 different ad campaigns, whatever you want to look at it. 2 of them flop, you completely lose your money. Let's say you lose 30 grand each, that's $60,000 loss. But the other 30 grand on the third one makes you a massive return, and something changes in your business forever or in your life, and you make 3 million. So now how you think about it is, okay, well, I didn't lose 60, I gained 3 million for a cost of 90, even though the two $30,000 investments over here individually didn't produce, but this one did. But if I didn't invest in all of these, I never would have even had an opportunity to invest in the one that worked. And so that's the thing, is you have to understand and you have to accept that you will not get where you want to be. You will not get to any level of success or greatness if you do not risk. And avoidance of risk is what is going to prevent you from moving forward. You have to risk. And before I end this, I'll quickly explain why psychologically you actually have this, because it's not really your fault. It's your default programming. It's how your brain is wired to work. You see, your mind is opposed to risk, and here's why. When you are a basic human, right? You come preloaded with default programming, and that your mind's its natural inclination is to keep you safe. That is why when you get near a ledge, you get nervous. That's why when you reach your hand out and touch a hot stove, you immediately retract. You don't even have to think about it. And that's because your mind is programmed by default. Its number one priority is to keep you safe. We know that without risk, there is no reward. Well, what is the opposite of risk? It is safety, okay? The opposite of risk is safety. And so if your mind is trying to keep you safe, it is opposed to risk. And if it's opposed to risk, it's opposed to reward, which means your mind is naturally designed to keep you safe and keep you from success, because you can't get success without risk. And so your mind sets you up to fail if you accept the default programming. Let me give you an example of how this plays out. You go and you attend an event, or you watch some sort of sales presentation, or you meet somebody who has a great opportunity. And logically, in your mind, you say, you know what, this would be great for my business, or this would be great for my life, or this would help me lose weight, or this would really increase our sale, whatever it is. You logically determine, yes, this is the right move. But then you get that gut feeling. You get that feeling of, oh, but it's just a lot of money. You know what that is? That's your mind taking over and going, whoa, We got to keep you safe. And you see, successful people, they are mechanics of their own mind. Imagine if you took your car to a mechanic and you said, fix my car, and he doesn't know how an engine works. How's he gonna fix your car, right? Well, if you wanna succeed in life, your mind is the engine. Your mind is the engine that drives everything. If you don't know how your mind works, how are you gonna succeed? You can't. That's why the most successful people in the world, they study how their brain works. So they know, ooh, my brain's working against me right now, and it's working for me over here, but over here it's working against me. So again, if I personally, I sit down and I go, you know what? I've done my due diligence. These people have a good reputation. If I invest, I'll get my money back. This will increase my sales, da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But then I get this feeling of, oh, but it's so much money. And I get nervous. I know that that's just my default programming telling me, oh, stay safe, stay safe. So I ignore that, I invest anyway, and boom, I get the return. And you know what? Sometimes it doesn't work out, but sometimes it really, really does. And when it does, it more than makes up for any time it didn't work out. So my advice to you today is understand what the value of risk is. Take a piece of paper, put it down on your desk, grab a pen, and start writing down all the things you've risked. On the left, what did I risk? How much time did I risk? How much money did I risk? How much of my reputation did I risk? How much of my comfort did I risk? Write it all down. Write what you've risked. And then on the right, write what you want, right? So if you want to make $1 million next month, then on the right, you put $1 million a month. And on the left, you put how much money you've risked to learn how to make that million. Consulting, ads, whatever, how much have you risked? And you write these down. And if you notice that the right side is far outweighing the left side, then you know that your value of risk is nowhere near what it needs to be in order to have what you want. And you need to start correcting that. Now, I'm not telling you to risk everything like some sort of chub, but I'm telling you to evaluate things, and when they make sense to risk, go ahead and do it if it makes sense. Don't let your feelings get in the way and make you go, oh, I'm not gonna do that. Or if you haven't even got there yet, maybe you're a starting entrepreneur, you're an employee or something, and you say, well, I want all this money. Well, ask yourself, what are you risking? How many hours per day are you reading books on business? How much are you spending on learning more about how things work in your industry? How much time, how much money, how much effort are you risking? Because if it's a low amount, you're gonna get a low amount of return. And that's just the way it is. And I hate to say it, it's in other countries, you'll die on the street hungry in some countries. Only in America and in some other countries do they actually take care of their poor, but in some they just can't. They don't have enough money to do so. So you gotta think here for a second and think to yourself, if you really want what you want, you have to accept that it takes risk and there's no other way about it. And if you understand the value of risk, you now can understand what you need to do to get the reward. I hope this helps. If you like videos like this, make sure to subscribe. Ask me any questions in the comments, and I'd be happy to do more videos on what I learned about being successful and making a ton of money in the world we live in today. All right, guys, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.